So Sony revealed its PS5, and we're gonna talk some smack on it right now. What's up guys, Luke back again, and today I'm gonna share my thoughts of the PS5 Future of Gaming show. I live streamed the event on Facebook Gaming and we had a blast. And after, I went back and recorded my thoughts on each and every game, as well as the console itself. So this one's gonna be a bit of a long one, guys, so sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe, and let's get right into it. Our first game is Spider-Man Miles Morales, and this one looked pretty good. I still need to play the first game, but it looks more like a DLC than a full game. We don't see much, so I assume it's still in early development, but I look forward to playing the original Spider-Man and getting caught up before this one releases. So the next game that Sony showed us was Gran Turismo 7. Normally I'm kind of meh about Gran Turismo, and this didn't really change my mind. At the end of the day, it's still a simulation racer, and I'm just not that into simulations of any kind really these days. When I play a racing game, I enjoy games that don't take themselves too seriously, like Mario Kart, or if it's got more realistic graphics, I want arcade style gameplay. In other words, if I can't slam on the brakes and do a crazy long drift at 120 miles an hour, I'm not interested. Hard pass on this one. And the next game on the list, Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart. Now we're talking. I think this is when the PS5 Future of Gaming showcase really started to take off. This game looks totally awesome. It's been a while since we have seen a Ratchet and Clank game, and now is the perfect time, in my opinion, to reintroduce the series to old school lovers of the series as well as a whole new generation. The first thing I notice about this game is how much is going on the screen at the same time. It's insane and really shows the PS5 flexing its muscles. The levels are beautiful and vibrant and really give you the feel that you're in a real living world. It seems as if you will have the ability to bounce back and forth between planets / timelines. Whether involuntary or voluntary is still to be determined, but still impressive and seems like something only the next generation of consoles can pull off. I can't wait to see more on this one. The next game that Sony showed us was Project Anthea. This game looks awesome. We didn't see much, but what we did see looked pretty amazing. From what I gathered after watching the trailer quite a few times is that you are playing as a female character with superpowers and the ability to manipulate nature, make roots grow out of the ground and swallow enemies, jump and run supernaturally fast. Looks pretty cool, but we need to see a lot more before getting too excited about this one. Still one that I'm super excited to see more of. So the next game that showed us was Stray, and Stray is more of the same from the last one. Not much to go off, but still piques my interest. I'm not a cat person, and I'm not a cat person. I hope that makes sense. I'm indifferent, but this one looks kind of cool. From the looks of it, you play as a stray cat in a world void of all human life. And you get upgrades. Looks cool, but still need to see more.
Infecting my mind.
And the sixth game that Sony showed us was Returnal. Returnal looks pretty awesome, a third-person shooter where you play as a stranded space explorer trying to survive on a random planet in outer space. Enemy variety seems to be there, and story looks like it could be very compelling. It looks like a game right up my alley, to be honest. We will have to see if it shoehorns in unnecessary open world, and depending on that, I may or may not be interested in actually playing this one. But if it gives us a reasonably lengthy campaign without overstaying its welcome, it will be a day one for me on the PS5. The story that the trailer shared was interesting and looks like in the game you will be battling with the main character's mental health as well as hordes of enemies. I look forward to this one. The next game that Sony showed us was Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and all I have to say is, wow, Sackboy looks a little linty this time around. I'm not a big fan of the over detail they put into this character model and hope they change that before the game releases. Other than that, this game looks awesome. We need more 3D platformers in the next generation, and this one looks great. Cool levels with a great rhythm of platforming and simple puzzle solving, and 2 to 4 player co-op. Yes please, this looks great and I will probably be playing this when it comes out. And the next game that Sony showed us is Destruction All-Stars. If Overwatch and Rocket League had a baby, this would definitely be it. This one looks like a fun game to try out. From the trailer, it looks like a destruction derby game with memorable characters, kind of like the heroes of Overwatch. But the twist is when your car explodes, that's not the end of the game. It looks like you still have a chance to win, and that's a cool innovation on the typical destruction derby games of the past. Those were some pretty awesome games that Sony just showed us. I'm really impressed with Sony right out of the gate announcing some of their biggest games for the PS5. Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart and Sackboy: A Big Adventure stood out personally for me, but there was also a ton of amazing ones too that I'm stoked to hear more about in the future. But we still got a lot of games to go over, so let's get right back into it. Okay, now jumping right back into it, Sony hits us with Kena Bridge of Spirits. Wow, this game might just be my favorite of the show. It's so hard to not fall in love with the visuals of this game. The environments look lush and beautiful, and draw distances detailed as far as the eye can see. The story seems to be a little shallow, but may have some twists and turns along the way, and the gameplay looks great. I'm catching some Breath of the Wild vibes with some Tomb Raider maps, where it's not fully open world but does have room for exploration. This game will be a day one for me, and probably a collector's edition unboxing if it becomes available. Just please, Jesus, give us a plush of one of those cute furry creatures in the game. Can't wait for this one.
You ever feel like you're just waiting for a sign?
And for the 10th game that Sony showed us, we get Goodbye Volcano High. This game should not have been on this presentation. I mean, nothing shows off next-gen hardware quite like hand-drawn animation. Pass. And the next game we get is Oddworld Soulstorm. What? A new Oddworld game? Yup, and it's coming to the PS5. This one looks really cool, a 2D platformer that drives the story forward. I think a lot of fans of the original games will love this one. Can't wait to see more.
It's up to you to save Tokyo.
For the 12th game of the PS5 Future of Gaming Showcase, we get Ghostwire Tokyo. This looks interesting. Kind of looks like a first-person Infamous. Great visuals and interesting gameplay. Setting in a supernatural Tokyo, overwhelmed by the paranormal, and it's your job to take care of it. Looks cool, and I look forward to seeing more. Next game we get from Sony is Jet the Far Shore. At this point, we've seen enough games about space exploration. I'm not sure what to say about this one. I guess we'll see. Next game we get is Godfall. This looks like a Darksiders game with multiple characters to choose from. Visuals are pretty good, and the gameplay looks fluid, but I don't know. It's one that's really not grabbing me too well. We'll just have to see more. And then we get Solar Ash. This looks like a spiritual successor to the Gravity Rush games. Looks beautiful and a lot of fun. Can't wait for this one. And for the 16th game, we get Hitman 3. Hitman's never really been my thing. I never liked having to dispose the body before it gets seen. I always get caught and never had much success with the game. Not for me, but I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see the conclusion of the Hitman base trilogy. Wow, a bunch of blindsides here, with games that we had never heard about. But the biggest standout for me was Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I cannot wait to hear more about it. But we got some other interesting announcements as well, such as Ghostwire Tokyo and the new Oddworld game. What? But now onto the final games in this showcase and the reveal of the console. Let's get right back into it. And jumping right back into it, we get Astrobot's Playroom. If this game doesn't get a VR release, it's gonna really bum me out. I want to like it, but the thought of playing an Astrobot game in 2D just doesn't appeal to me. The interactivity that you had with Astrobot and the crew was amazing, and having it move to 2D sounds like a cash grab by Sony, and I'm kind of meh on this one. And the next game we get is Little Devil Inside. This one doesn't belong in the PS5 showcase, but I'm so glad it was in it anyways. Interesting humor, cute yet sometimes serious visuals, and from the looks of it, fun gameplay. This one looks cool, and I think it takes place inside of the old man's body. Let me know what you think in the comments.
You down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got it.
And then we get NBA 2K21. I guess it wouldn't be a console showcase without showing off a sports game that comes out every single year. But the sweat looks kind of cool. I wonder how much they paid Sony to get their game with new rosters in this one. Not impressive. I like sports games, but no competition makes for increasingly careless development. I want something new, please. Please give me something new. And next we get Bugsnax. Now we're getting weird. I mean, what is this? I don't have much to say about this one except for it's not for me. Next, Demon Souls. Is this a remaster, a remake, or an entirely new game? I'm not sure. All I know is it looks great, and I know it relates to the Dark Souls series, and I know having this game being announced makes a lot of people happy. Can't wait to see more. And next we get a new IP, Deathloop. This game looks really fun. An FPS with a Borderlands-y humor to it. It looks fluid and fast-paced with multiple ways to do the same thing, allowing for infinite creativity. And I'm sure there will be a ton of hilarious one-liners along the way. This one looks really interesting, and I can't wait to see more. A new Resident Evil game. I mean, I swear these last few years have been amazing for Resident Evil fans. And I've already done videos about it. I am a brand new Resident Evil fan, so when I'm seeing this, I'm getting super pumped for what we have in store for us in the future. I still have a lot of catching up to do with the Resident Evil series, but this series is quickly becoming one of my favorites. So this is really exciting and makes me want to continue to play the series to catch up before it comes out. Another one that looks awesome, and I'm totally stoked to play this one.
Chris? Sorry, Ethan. Why?
And the next game we get is Pragmata, another space game. Ooh. Jeez, this is getting a little out of hand. Kind of looks like a Death Stranding game, but I'm really unsure as to what it actually is about. I need to see more. And the final game that Sony showed us is Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to Zero Dawn. And what can I say? It's a new Horizon game. The last Horizon game showed off what 4K graphics can look like, and this one is no different. Visually stunning. With a vast open world, this is another game that I really need to spend more time with, and after watching the trailer, it makes me want to jump right into the previous game and get ready for the next one. This game looks great, and I can't wait to see more.
There's nothing I wouldn't do to save this world.
Okay, the moment we have all been waiting for. And to be honest, the wait was a little too long in my opinion. There are a couple of games that were announced that could have waited until future state of play announcements, but that's just me complaining. We get our first look at the console and geez, what were they thinking? This thing is way different than the typical elegant yet simple design that we have all grown to love. This console is odd shaped and kind of goofy looking, and you can tell that the design is designed around not having a Blu-ray drive. So of course the digital only version looks more appealing to the eyes. This is just yet another nudge for gamers to go all digital, and that really disappoints me. I don't want to live in a world where I can't go out to the store and buy a physical game and pop it into my console to play, or share that game with my friend that hasn't played it yet. So needless to say, I will be stuck with the not so pretty disc drive system. This system just feels like they're trying too hard to catch our eyes with the futuristic design. The console looks like it could fly to the moon. Maybe that's why they had all those space games. But seriously, this console looks alright, looking at it a second time, but I much prefer the Series X design over this one. And while we're talking about the console, I'd like to add I'm not a big fan of the controller as well, and think similarly about its design. Just trying too hard with a two-tone look, and as a result, it looks worse than if it would have been one solid color. It looks like two cases were spliced together to make one. And that's cool when it's a modification, but not when it's manufactured like that. Needless to say, I'm not a fan of the look of this one. So in conclusion, I'm not a big fan of this console design. I feel like it's just another nudge in the direction of digital only, and I'm not budging. So I'm stuck with the odd looking PS5 disc system and proud. But at the end of the day, the look of the console doesn't really matter. What really matters is how it functions and what games are going to be on it. And from that aspect, the PS5 hit the ball out of the park. There were so many awesome games announced that I'm super excited to play on my PS5 when I finally get one. That is when the price is finally announced. I mean, come on guys, how much is the spaceship gonna cost me? But knowing Sony, we probably won't learn that until the Series X price is announced. That was my opinion on the PS5 Future of Gaming Showcase. But that's enough for me. Now I want to hear from you. Are you excited about the games that Sony announced for the PS5? Also, what did you think about the console design? Love it? Did you hate it? Or are you kind of indifferent? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you got value out of this video, do me a big favor and smash like, as well as subscribe with notifications turned on for more content like this. And lastly guys, I do have a Patreon for those of you that are interested in supporting me and don't mind getting a little extra content, such as behind the scenes content of all of our unboxing productions, as well as YouTube videos days or even weeks before they go live on YouTube. But until next time guys, Luke from 8-Bit Plus, signing out, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.